Hello, this is Mehtab Shinwari. Today we are doing an exciting project. The project will entail installing ESXi on a USB drive on a B series chassis, and also to install a patch on top of the ESXi installation. So the project basically is what we're trying to do is we have this one server right here. This is a vCenter. Under the vCenter, we see an ESXi host right here, a bunch of machines. Some of them are UC machines. And right now, this ESXi host is booting off a data store, a network data store that would be decommissioned. So as a prep work, what we are trying to do is, since it's going to be decommissioned, we are trying to install the ESXi on the local USB drive, and we'll be there'll be a few steps that we'll be doing. The machines have already been transferred to a different data store in a different LUN, which is the 3PAR in this case. So the step-by-step, what we are going to do is we are going to shut down the UC machines first. After the UC machines are shut down, we are going to migrate them. Since UC machines, Cisco has stringent requirements, we cannot do a live vMotion, so we have to shut them down, move them to a different host. Once they are moved, then we're going to take a backup of the configurations of the ESXi host itself using powerCLI, and after that we are going to re-image and install the ESXi on a USB drive that's already been installed on the chassis itself. And once that is done, we're going to install the patch and restore the configuration. So, a lot of steps that we need to do. I'm going to be pausing the video a couple of times in between while the servers are either rebooting or reinstalling. So let's go ahead and do that. First thing is first, we have to shut down the guest's operating system. If you're not familiar with a graceful shutdown of the UC machines, I'll show you on one of them, and then I'm going to pause the video and shut down the rest of them. So you go to the console and log into the CLI, and at the CLI prompt, you issue the commands utils system shutdown, and that is going to gracefully shut down the virtual machine, the UC machine. In this case, this is a CUCM server, a call manager server. So I'm going to do the same right here. It's going to ask me for a confirmation. I'm going to go and hit yes, and it's going to go into the shutdown process, right? And we can do the same thing, just to give you an example, we can do the same thing for, let's say, a presence server right here, an IMNP server. All right, so if I go back to the first one, the one that I issued the shutdown command, and you'll see that it's is going to the shutdown. So at this moment, I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to go ahead and shut down the rest of them. Once they're all shut down, I'm going to show you real quick that I'll be migrating them to one of the other servers. Most probably it's going to be the UC01 server. And once that is done, we're going to go ahead and continue. So I'm going to pause the video, and I'll be right back. Alright, so all of the UC machines are now shut down. As you can see, what we are going to do now is we are going to migrate these machines off of this server to a different server. So the way to do that is to right click and click migrate. We are only changing host, data store, and the rest have already been changed in a previous maintenance window. So we're going to select change host. We're going to select the server that it needs to go on to. In this case, it's going to be this. And if the conditions of vMotion basically are that you have to have a VM kernel port and configured, that should have access to the other data store that you want to that you'll be vMotioning to. And the second thing that it needs is a shared data store. So for example, if I were to go and choose a different data store, a different host that does not have either the vMotion networking, or it does not have a shared storage shared with this server, the O2 server, you'll see an error like this. It says unable to access the virtual machine configuration. But if I select the one that is sharing a data store, as well as it is in the vMotion networking, you'll see something to the effect of like it's on the screen right here. It'll say validation succeeded. So we're going to choose this one, and we're going to hit next. After hitting next, we're going to hit finish, and this is this quick right here. All right, so we're going to do the same thing with the rest of the machines here. All right, so all the machines that were shut down have been migrated vMotioned onto the O1 server. Right now, the O2 server does not have any virtual machines in there. So now we are ready to get the backup of this of the configuration of this host. And what we are going to use to get the backup is we are going to use the powerCLI, the VMware vSphere powerCLI. The backup destination in our case is going to be this folder right here. I'm going to just put it right here so you guys could see it in real time. First thing is first, we need to connect to the server. Let me get the credentials. The server in question is 1054. It's going to ask us for the root credentials, so we're going to put that. Okay, next we are going to get the configuration file off of this host. All right, the powerCLI command is get VM host firmware VM host, if I could type correctly. Okay, and then the IP address of the VM host in this case. Okay, and what do we need from it? We need the backup configuration, and what we need, the destination path, and for us it is going to be the D drive right here, D drive, the backup folder. All right, now if I wanted to, and I'll show you what I mean here. So if I hit enter, it's gonna put it right here, the config file. Now I know that I did it in 2 steps, as in I connected to the host first, and then I did it like this. If I was to directly issue this command, it can still work, but I have to define the username and password, which of course I didn't want to do in front of you guys. So I did it this way. So this is the config file right here. All the configurations have been stored in here. The next step is to put the server in maintenance mode. Again, we are going to right click on it and go enter maintenance mode. Right, after putting the server in maintenance mode, we're going to launch the KVM manager from the UCS manager. So this is the UCS manager. This is the server in question. Okay, if you look at the boot order right now, the boot order is to boot from the local CD DVD and then boot from SD card. So this boot policy needs to be applied on the service profile, and that service profile would be applied on the host itself. Now this is a whole different section. If you're not familiar with UCS Manager, hopefully I'll create another video on how to navigate the UCS Manager and how to create the service profile and the boot policies. But for now, for this video, just know that we have created a boot policy, and the boot policy basically dictates the next time it boots, the policy will be applied, and it will look for the CD, DVD, and then it'll look for the SD card, or if there was something else, let's say a SAN drive or something, you'll put it right here. All right. So right now this boot policy has been applied on this server. What we are going to do is we are going to go to the KVM Launch Manager, the UCS KVM Launch Manager, and we're going to select the server, and we are going to open the KVM window. Now, since this is all virtual, what we are going to do is we are going to mount, since we don't have the actual CD and I'm not sitting in front of the UCS server, so we are going to mount the ISO as a virtual media, and we are going to make the server boot from the ISO, the installer, and then during the installation we're going to select the USB drive as the installation destination. All right, so this is the server right now booting from SAN from a different drive. What we are going to do is we are going to go to virtual media, and we are going to activate virtual media. Okay, accept the session. Now virtual media is activated. It's giving us all the option. I'm going to map the CD, DVD. In our case, it is going to be an ISO sitting right here. Custom Cisco ISO. Version 5.5. We're going to apply the patch later on, but right now version 5.5. Open, map the drive, go back to virtual media, make sure that the drive is mapped right here. Next step, F12 to shut down and restart. So I'm going to hit F12. It's going to ask me for the root password. Okay, it's going to ask me, what do you want to do? Do you want to shut it down? Do you want to escape? Do you want to restart? In this case, I'm looking for a restart. So I'm going to go and hit F11. Now this is going to go into a restart. After the restart, when you're presented with a BIOS and the post screens, not the BIOS, the post screens, we are going to select the boot order so that it boots from the ISO that we just mapped under the virtual media. The key is to do it when you see the screen, and I'll show you what I mean. And you'll have to hit the function key 6, F6, in order to bring up the boot menu. All right, here we go. Cisco Systems, configuring and testing memory. So this is going through the post screens. All right, and you see F6 boot menu. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to hit F6. And you'll see it says entering boot selection menu. Again, this is going through post, so we'll give it a few minutes, a minute or two. All right, and now you're at the boot selection screen. right here, since we have mapped the ISO to the virtual KVM, the VKVM, that's the option that we are going to select. I'm going to go down and I'm going to select V DVD, hit enter. And here we go. That's the 5.5 installer. I'm going to either hit enter, or you can wait for the automatic boot. In this case, I guess we're waiting. And now the installer will boot. Now this may take a minute or two, so I'm going to pause my video until the installer boots and we are at the installation screen. Alright, so we'll be right back. Alright guys, so we're back. The installer has finished loading and we are at the installation screen here. So from this screen I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Of course, the end user license agreement, F11. I don't know if you guys would read it, but F11 it is for now. So now it's going to scan all the available resources. The installer is going to scan all the available resources. We are going to be installing this on a 4 gig right here, 3.73 gigs, a 4 gig USB drive that's already been installed in the chassis right here, Unigen. It is a Cisco branded. So we're going to select this and we're going to hit enter. All right, and it's asking us to confirm. We're going to hit OK. We are going to now choose a root password. All right, password match. Hit enter again. Basically what the installer is going to do is the installer is going to create partitions, and it's going to install the ESXi software on one of those partitions. Again, later on in a different video, hopefully I will talk about some common ESXi partitions and how they correlate with the installation medium. We're going to see one final confirmation before the installation continues. Here we go, and it is the final confirmation. It's asking us, do you want to confirm the install? And yes, that's what we want to do. And this is what I was talking about. This disk will be repartitioned, which is okay. We want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit F11, and now it's going to go into the installation of the ESXi software. Again, in order to keep the video short, I'm gonna again pause the video and I'm gonna be back when the installation completes and we're going to take it from there. Alright, so see you in a few minutes. Alright, so I'm back and here we go. The 5.5 ESXi installation has been completed successfully, and as the warning window says, remove the installation disk before rebooting, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to remove that ISO image at the top. Now remember, I was talking about the boot policy in the beginning under UCS Manager. So once I reboot this, it is going to take over and it's going to reboot using the USB drive. So let's do that. I'm going to go and hit enter reboot. Alright, it's rebooting the server. Now I want to show you guys this right here. Actually, let me just show it to you right here. Under properties, and I'm going to go to boot order. And from the boot order, as you can see, remote CD DVD number 1 and then internal USB right here. So it's going to boot off of the internal USB. Alright, so let's go back to the KVM console. It's going to go into a whole boot, and once it boots, it's going to then you're going to have to put in the IP addresses, DNS information, whatever other information that you want to add. Once again, in order to keep the video short, I'm gonna pause this video and I'm gonna be back once the server boots. Alright guys, so we're back. As you can see, the 5.5 has installed and has booted for the first time. You'll see that there is no IP address configuration here. We are going to put that there. By default, it'll take it from DHCP, but that's not what we want. We're going to be putting the IP addresses and the DNSs and the rest of the information. Alright, so let's do that. And as you can see from the bottom, in order to do that, we need to go into the we're going to hit F2 and put the root password that we defined earlier. Okay, and we're going to configure the management network, right? And in this, we're going to be configuring network adapter, VLAN, IP config, DNS, custom DNSs if there's any. Again, I'll be right back after I put all the information, and I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so I have added the required information. In this case, the network adapters. Chose the correct network adapters, put in the VLAN information, the IP information. We're not using IPv6, DNS information, and the custom DNS suffixes if there were any. After doing that, I'm going to hit escape, and it's going to ask me if you want to apply the changes. Yes, I want to apply the changes. Now the changes have been applied. A good thing would be to actually test to see if it can reach the DNS and if it can ping the IP addresses. So to do that, you hit Test Management Network, and it's going to ask you what do you want to ping. So I'm going to see if you can ping the DNS in itself. Alright, great, everything is good. I'm not worried about resolving hostname here, but it is able to ping. Okay, so once again, this is the base version right here, build 174.6018. The idea is to bring it to version 214.38.27. Alright, so this will be the next step that we are going to do. I'm going to put this in the background here, bring this up. First thing is first, what I want to do is I want to connect it back to the vCenter. So let me do that. And in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and hit connect. Okay, it's complaining about the SSL certificate. That's okay. These are self-signed. Okay, as you can see, reconnecting host at the bottom right here, 80%, receiving data. Alright, great. Now, I want you to pay special attention to a few things here. First thing that I want you to pay attention to is this right here. when it says configuration issue, system logs on this particular host are stored on non-persistent storage. Why? Now remember, we're using a USB drive. The VMware ESXi architecture considers the USB or flash drives as non-persistent storage. All right. This is something that can be changed under configuration. Again, I can cover this in a different video, but I just wanted to show you where everything is. You go to advanced storage, you go to syslogs global, and right now the scratch is actually pointing to, let me see if I can go to scratch config. The scratch is actually pointing to nowhere, nothing. So location by default will be where ESXi was installed. In our case, it was installed in the USB drive, and that's why it's complaining about that. Now this will get fixed later on once we reapply the configuration, so I'm going to leave this as is. The second thing I want you to pay attention is, if I go back to configuration, I go to networking. Right now the only two networks that you see are under vSwitch O, a VM network, and management network. All right. This will again change after I restore the configuration. You'll see that there's going to be a UC vSwitch as well, and you'll see the scratch partition will change also. Okay, but first things first, we need to bring it to the version that's on the other the UCS servers. All right. So in order to do that, I have already uploaded the patch file onto Update Manager. If you want me to create a video on the Update Manager, let me know in the comments below, and I'll create a video on the Update Manager on how to apply patches via vSender and via Update Manager. So we're going to go to the Update Manager and we are going to choose the updates that we want to install. In this case, it is the data center update that we want to install right now. It will install, it will upgrade the ESXi as well as install the rest of the security patches and the bug fixes. Okay. In order to apply this, we're going to hit remediate. Now, let me just put the screen a little bit up here so that you can see what happens when I hit remediate. So a couple of things will happen. It'll start the installation of the patch and updates, and at the end it'll reboot the ESXi host for it to apply the changes. Keep an eye out on this right here. Build number right now is 1746018, evident right here, 1746018. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start the remediation process. So I'm going to hit click remediate. A couple of confirmation pages. It'll tell me what, from this screen I can actually pick and choose. In this case, I just want to install all these important bug fixes. So I'm going to go hit next. Again, if you want, you can put a task description here. I'm just going to leave it as is. You can stage it for later on. That's not what we want to do. We want to do it immediately right now, since we're already in a maintenance window. I'm going to go and click next again. You can change the power state, and again you can try a few other options right here. I'm going to go ahead and hit next again and finish, and now it's going to go into the process of installing that. This is doesn't take that long. In my own experience, it took about 10 to 15 minutes. Again, it goes through a couple of different things. First thing that it does is it puts the server into maintenance mode right here, as you can see. So that's the first thing that it does. After putting the server in maintenance mode, then it starts installing all the bug fixes and the patches that you want the server to be on. And after that, it's going to go ahead and do a reboot to apply those. So again, I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to come back once the patch is installed and after the server is rebooted, and you guys will see after the server is rebooted, you'll see that it'll have a different build number and you'll see that the patches have been installed. So see you in a couple of minutes. Alright guys, so the process just completed and the server was rebooted. As you can see from the screen right here, we have a a new build now, 214.387. That's the build that we need. Looking back at vCenter, you can see 214.387. Patches and everything have been installed right here. Installed. The process has completed. All right, so let's go back to the summary page. Actually, let's go back to the configuration page. So I'm going to just leave it here, right here. So you go back to the configuration page, and right now what we are going to do is we are going to, the configuration that we took before, we are going to restore that configuration on to this ESXi host. All right, so since the host was rebooted a couple of times, I'm going to go ahead and connect to it again. All right, and this time we are going to be restoring the configuration right here, the configuration that we took before. Okay, so let me close this, and to restore the configuration, powerCLI again, we are going to restore it with the command set VM host firmware VM host 10 200 154. What are we doing? We are doing a restore. We're doing a restore. I'm going to use the option of doing force. Why the option of force? Okay, so if anything would change that was not there before and you want the restore to go smoothly, use the force option. In our case, of course, the main thing was changed. The installation medium was changed. It was installed on SAN. It was booting from SAN. Now it's booting from a USB. So that's why I'm using force. After force, you're going to point to source path, and in our case the source path is right here. So let me just go ahead and copy and paste that real quick. Okay, now before I apply this command, a prerequisite of this command is to put the server in maintenance mode. Okay, now if I were to just run the command as is, actually, you know what, let me run the command as is. Okay, and let me show you what it does. So I'm going to go ahead and put the username and password here, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. And as you can see through a command, it says the operation is not allowed in the current state. Okay, so this operation is only allowed if you are in a maintenance mode. So I'm going to go ahead and put the server in maintenance mode. Okay, now the server is in maintenance mode. I'm going to go ahead, go back, and I'm going to apply this command again. Now, please remember, the moment you apply this command and it tries to restore, it's going to initiate a reboot. I know it's like the third or the fourth time the server is rebooting, but that's how the process works. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, the moment I hit enter, it completes it right here. Look in the back, and it's going to go ahead and initiate a reboot. Okay, so again, I'm going to let it reboot. I'm going to let it go through its motions, and we are going to come right back. And when we come right back, the first thing that I want to show you guys is that it will now have more information. It will now have the rest of the configuration that the original server had before, including having separate vSwitches. Alright, so again, I'm going to pause the video, and we'll be right back after the server reboots. Okay, so the server has rebooted final time, and again we are at build 214387, the build that we wanted to be on. Just a few more steps. we would need to put it back, connect it back to the vCenter. So let's do that real quick. Of course, the cert will change again. Okay. Now, as you can see, if I go back to the summary, now it's not going to complain about the persistent storage that we saw before, and why. And let me just show you real quick. I'm going to go back to advanced setting. I'm going to go back to syslog and the global syslog. Again, although it's pointing to scratch, but here's where the data store information is going to be in, and that is under scratch configuration. Right now there's a data store. Remember, there was nothing there before. Now there's a data store that it will go to the scratch will be written to that data store. Okay, so that's why it's not complaining about the scratch configuration. So I'm going to hit cancel here. The next thing that I talked about before was going into wanting to show you that after restoring the configuration, it restores a couple of different things, and of course it's going to restore whatever you have defined there. For example, if there was anything relating to storage, it's going to define there, and under networking now it has a vMotion VM kernel port also, as well as the UC network. That's going to be the devices, the UC devices that they were going to go there. All right. The final step would be to bring back the servers back to this host and turn them back on. All right. So let me just do one of them again. Just right-click, migrate, change host. Remember, these are Cisco UC servers. Live migration on most of them is not supported. That's why we had to shut them down. So we're going to go and hit choose host, and this time we're going back to O2, and we're going to click finish. And right now, as you can see, we have the server back to where it belongs. I'm going to do the rest of them right here. On the UCS side of things, let's go back to the UCS. I'm going to go back to properties. I'm going to go back here, and the UCS side of things now, it's going to keep on booting from the USB drive. All right. I hope this video was informative. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. Let me know if you like this video, and let me know if there's anything else that you guys want me to put up. Hopefully very soon I'll be putting up a few videos about UCS Manager, putting up a few videos about Update Manager as well. All right, thank you. I'll see you guys again. Bye.